Hello everyone, welcome back to Autistic Assemble, this is the last episode of the series, so it's gonna be really cool. I've called it the reunion. So this is kind of reunion slash finale episode because it's the last one, of course. I'm going to everyone to introduce themselves. Some people have been on the podcast before. Some people, well, I say that everyone has. So that's a bit silly, really. But some people have been on a few times. Some people have only been on once. So it's gonna be really cool. And some people here even have their own podcast, which we can talk about that maybe a little bit into the episode. So I'm going to start everyone to introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Evangelyn. If you can introduce yourself first.
Hi, my name is Evangelyn. I'm an MS candidate at NYU in integrated marketing, and I'm looking to go into either luxury marketing, consulting, or entertainment marketing.
Yeah, lots of marketing. Great to have you back, Evangelyn. Valerie, do your introduction.
Hi, everybody. My name's Valerie Genero. I'm autistic.musician on Instagram. I'm a musician, and I've been studying nursing as well. So that's kind of like my background. I just found out that I was autistic last year when my son was diagnosed. And it's been really interesting just learning everything and getting to connect with the community. So that's been cool.
Yeah, there's the community is very big, isn't it? You see so many people out there who have autism, so it's great that you found that community over the last year, and then here you are. Yeah, it's great to have you back, Valerie, because we had a good episode. We talked about music and stuff, so it's yeah, I've got something to share about music actually. A little bit into the episode. But yeah, great to have you back, Valerie. Nick, do you mind doing your introduction?
Hi, I am Nick. I am an autistic and neurodivergent individual. I host a podcast called Neurodivergent Chat. I've been doing this for the last 3 years. I was diagnosed with autism at 7. And currently, I am getting my bachelor's in political science and public policy. And recently, this week, I just passed a neurodiversity and disability rights resolution at my university's academic senate. Wow. So that's pretty much exciting.
That is exciting. You have to tell us more about that when we go through the episode. But before Will introduces himself, we've got Barry who's joining us, who's just coming in now. So I'm gonna let him in. Hi, Barry.
Hello, guys. Sorry I'm a little bit late.
No, it makes it even more funner that you're late.
That's brilliant, because last time when we did the podcast when I was your guest, I was super early, like a half hour earlier. Now I'm like 15 minutes late today. So my apologies to everybody. So yeah, I'm Barry, and hello, nice to meet you all.
Thanks, Barry. And I don't think you're not the only one who was half an hour early as well, so you're not on your own.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. So yeah, I'll let you carry on, mate. Yeah. So whatever you got to do, buddy.
Thanks, Barry. I'm going to put you on mute, and then you can do your like a further introduction after Will's done his introduction, and I'll hand it back to you. All right. Cool. All right. So Will, if you mind doing your introduction.
Yeah. Hi. I just spilled a load of crisps, so I'm trying to clean that up as well. Yeah. Probably really no need to introduction. Flipping out, I can't speak English tonight. Yeah. I am the Auti Biker. I run the Instagram thing of the same name. Been on this planet 22 years, nearly 23 years. This May. Been diagnosed autistic since I was 8, so a good 15 of those years at least. Musician, railwayman, God knows what.
Yeah.
Chaos. I am chaos.
It's great introduction, Will, because I'll say this every time we do it. Like you're used to coming on here and spilling everything. So it's great to have you back. So Barry, I'm gonna come back to you. I'm gonna come back to you if you wouldn't mind just doing a little bit further of an introduction. Maybe say maybe when you was diagnosed with autism, and just maybe a little bit about yourself as well. But you're still on mute.
Yeah. Hi. My name is Barry. I just turned 40 years old though this year, so I've been around for a very, very long time. I was diagnosed with autism when I was like 3 or 4 years old back in the 1980s, and that was during the time when I believe autism was like a new music rave scene, like a part of an underground club sort of scene, and that, which it wasn't well known, but it was out there and that. So yeah, and that, and yeah, that's basically just me. And I've been doing a lot to this world, and used to be a YouTuber, but also just trying to enjoy life the best I can, really, to be fair.
Yeah. I completely agree, and we had a really good episode, didn't we? We've talked about around like autism. We spoke a lot about around Doctor Who because we like Doctor Who. So we spoke around about that, and we have a few people here who like that too. So it was great fun. And since then we've got a load of announcements on Doctor Who itself, haven't we? So
oh God, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There was one though the other day. So, as we're recording this, though, in April, whenever this is going to go up later in the year. So, there you go.
Yeah. Speaking of music, actually, because we got a few people in here like music, a soundtrack composer who ran Doctor Who from maybe 2005 to 2017 has now come back, and he plays some really good music. Whenever I write up episodes after this, any episode I do, I listen to the composer that's just come back because his music is unbelievable. Like, so the soundtracks are awesome, and I think when me and Valerie we did our episode, we spoke a lot about my soundtrack and music in general. So and I even said that I think I remember I said I like certain soundtracks because they music does really help us, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that, buddy. I think that is a great thing about with music, and
yeah, music is awesome. It is awesome. It's everywhere, really, isn't it? Like if you ever watch a film, if you're walking down the street. Today I went to the football at my team I support. Lots of music, very busy.
So how did the game go? Did you get automatic promotion? I know it's off topic.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yes, well done.
Yeah, got automatic promotion. It's the busiest I've ever seen it. It's the busiest I've ever seen it. Like it had all parties and parades and everything. And I left before the end because I didn't want to be in the mix of everyone going on the pitch because they got promoted, and it would have been too hectic. So I left early, purely to get back for this podcast. But even if I didn't have a podcast, I would have stayed. No, wrong. I would have gone. I wouldn't have stayed. Really. But I'm gonna Nick, if you wouldn't mind, just saying a little bit about what you've been up to. Like you said, I think that have progressed since we last did our episode. Just talk a little bit about that.
Well, where to start? Okay, well, obviously, last time I was on your show, I was talking about planning an event for my political science club involving neurodiversity and politics. We had our event about a week ago. It was really good. We didn't have that big of a turnout, but it's our political science club, and we hardly have a big turnout as is, except for election night. But then a few days later, after our event came to an end, my Disability Justice Club was notified that the Academic Senate was going to do a second reading on a resolution involving, protections for disabled and neurodivergent students on campus. They did the second reading, and then they did the vote on it this past Tuesday, and they all unanimously approved the bill. So that's really exciting. 6 months, or actually a year for me. My friend who is also autistic, he worked on this bill for 2 years. So basically a year of planning and 6 months worth of research really paid off.
Yeah, it sounds very good, like, but very exciting.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've been keeping really busy.
Yeah, I'm already burnt out as is, and I got finals in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, it is that time of year with like lots of exams come up and everything, and like it's crazy. I think these next 2 weeks is bank holiday Mondays in the UK. So it's crazy. We get a nice holiday, but it's a very busy time of the year, because things finish, which can be good. So you have a nice summer break, but at the same time, it's it's one of those, like, with autism and routine, isn't it? Because like things stop. It's almost like you have that momentum throughout the year, and then around this kind of time, and then we head into May, like things stop, and then you want to find things to do, and it is can be a struggle. Does anyone else like feel that, like it could be a bit of a struggle when this time of year comes along and things finish?
Oh, yeah, definitely for me, especially because I have 2 young kids, so I'm, like, constantly in burnout, like, all the time. It's so hard to, like, keep up with, like, everything, especially when I have, like, appointments to go to. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, I get it with work, because work want me pretty much every weekend that they can have me, and if I'm doing stuff through the week as well, it just, yeah, I'm hauling about 50 hours a week on the railways, so it's not the best, but it's not the worst. It keeps me in beer and beans, so I'm happy. Just work are slowly learning that, yeah, I need time off occasionally.
Yeah, definitely. Just want to echo what William was saying. For me, I only got like one more semester after this, and then I'm just planning for summer classes. I'm trying to apply for, internships, for public policy firms. And, it's really this time of year, really, one, I'm glad the semester is ending well, and I get a small break, but in essence, I always get really burnt out and, depressed this time of year because, been working too hard, and then finals, exams, it's like anything can happen.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a burnout through a lot of different stuff through life now. Well, like, my retail job, which is like 2 minutes away from me, which is great. But at the same time, I've had a massive amount of burnout that actually happened to me where I've had to take a calm back, and lately I've been trying to calm myself back a little bit by taking more nature walks and trying to get out a bit more and that. And that's what I did today, and trying to get back into facts of life, that I really want to enjoy and get things out. But yeah, it can actually happen. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, yeah, it happens a lot where we get tired. If you've gone out for the day, you just feel really tired. So it's like sometimes I'll go out and I'll go to sleep, and then my mum will say, "You should be asleep. It's daytime." And then I say, "Yeah, I know." And then and then the thing is, I won't sleep at night, and I go to bed at like 3 o'clock
I
in the
relate
morning.
to that somewhat because I do nights.
Hmm.
I'm on tonight. I'm moving rail tonight, actually.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun. I've been awake all day, been at the opticians. At least I can see. That's a good thing. I
Yeah.
don't need glasses, so again, that's a good thing. But yeah, I've been awake since 9, and I start at 23:45, so quarter to midnight, and we'll knock off about 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to like what you did with my dad, just deliver newspapers, put in all the newspapers so it can actually break well. And then once I've done my night shift, I would not hardly sleep at all because I was going to be up during the day and that because I'm much more of a day person. And saying I called night is a bit weird. For like 7 years, and yeah, it really messed me out. And then it left me in tears at the end, and that decided to leave and focus on day work. So that had a sort of effect on me and that as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. It is it could be action-packed days, because we don't know what's happening tomorrow, really. Every day's different. Like, but actually, speaking of like daytimes and night times, I actually really like night times because I find it really peaceful. And you get no messages. I don't really get any messages. And with the exceptions, if I'm talking to someone from America, maybe the daytime for them. Like, so I am very. I'm a night owl, I think. Yeah, it is one of those things where we like it or we don't. And yeah. So with burnout, guys, do you think we get this? Do you think we get this like all year round, or do you think we get it like certain periods of the year?
For me, it's basically every 2 months.
Every 2 months.
Yeah.
For me, it's roughly every 3 months, give or take. It depends how much I've been doing, because I've got a lot of quality work because I'm going for the level 3 tech apprenticeship, so I've got a lot of stuff to do now, and not to put too fine a point on it, I'm going to be at home a lot more, so that, you know, that's all right. But on the upside, it means I can recuperate more after a few shifts. But I'm close to burning out as is because I've been working, 40, 50 hours a week. So it is what it is, though. I've just got to do it.
Yeah, it is. It is one of those things.
Yeah, it's really hard because like the way that they like work people is just crazy. I mean, I'm really an advocate for like the 4-day work week. I think that would be so much better for everyone. I think it's really upsetting that they make us work so much. Like, I mean, it's capitalism. It's like they just want profits.
The naff bit for me is because I'm technically agency. I work for a subcontractor to Network Rail. They want me pretty much every day of the week that I couldn't actually do it. We're hard capped at doing a 72-hour week. However, they will, that I'm knocking 40 hours a week, 40 hours in the midweek at least, Monday to Friday. So I start at 8, finish at 4. And then on the on a Saturday night, like tonight, I'll go out and smash out 10 hours. So that's me. I occupy pretty much from 10 at night to 8 the next morning. So I'm knocking on a 50-hour week.
Yeah.
In the previous weeks, I've done 54, 64-hour weeks near enough, which is, it pays well, but you have no life. And
exactly.
I'm getting to the point where, well, it's not even that. Work are starting to learn with me, like, okay, this guy's reliable, but for heaven's sake, it's time for a bit of time off. And I don't spring anything on them. I make sure they know in plenty of advance, but even then, when they start taking the mickey, asking me to cover people's shifts at 2 hours notice, it's a case of, well, where is it? And if it's too far for me, or if I'm too knackered, no, I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
I've had times where I've had last year now where they asked me to come in and do overtime at my shop, and I'm like, are you kidding me in that? And then I'll be like, no, can't do that at all. They would even do like half an hour notice sometimes to really get me under and that altogether. And yeah, I know what you mean by that.
Yeah, it's a tricky one to get right because, excuse me, with what I do, is it's actually very labor intensive. I'm driving a shovel every day of the week, pretty much. Well, not I'm walking every day of the week at the moment on the Metrolink. So I'm a lookout. So I'm doing an intensive job anyways, because I'm the one tasked with the safety, making sure no one gets hit by a tram. So, you know, they're hard to miss, the trams. You can't miss them. They're bright flipping yellow. But even so, they're hurtling at you at 50 miles an hour, and it's a bit, yeah, you got to make sure you're switched on. So there's that. So you get home and you're knackered because you've been concentrating all day. And then when you do a Saturday night, I mean, tonight, thankfully, isn't going to be too strenuous. We're just moving rail. But I've done nights where we've been shoveling non-stop, shovel, 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 shovel. And I moved about a ton of ballast in the night. And those are never pleasant.
Yeah, I used to work at Tesla, and they had us building cars. And so like it was really labor intensive because I was on the line, and I'd have to jump up in the car and like drill a bunch of holes really quick, and then like get out and like do some stuff on the back, and like
I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
I really couldn't do that. Too much pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, the universal law of the railways is hurry up and wait. So if I can lay it out for you, a typical Saturday night for me will be rock up, sign in. I rock up the advertised start time, and then we won't get the possession. So we won't get our, you can work order kind of thing till about midnight, 1 a.m. We'll get that, and then we'll, right, everyone on, boys, load all our tools on and get on, and then we will work through till about if it's a Saturday night, if it's a block on a Saturday night, we'll have to give it back by 6 a.m, Sunday morning. So we're normally off and clear for about 5 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock at the absolute latest. If it's a weekend block, then we have to wait for our relief to come in, and our relief shift normally come in. It depends who's running the job. If it's Amy, they have they're on a 3-shift system. You have the morning, afternoon, night shift. So we normally hand over to the morning shift, which comes in at about 6. So yeah, it is what it is. But when it comes to CRSA, they'll have you till 8, 9 in the morning, which is, especially this time of year when it's starting to get light, and it's like, oh, great, and I've got to try and go to sleep while it's light. But as I say, so it goes. Big deal. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be hard for anybody, like even neurotypicals, but especially for us as neurodivergent people, like it's autistic people. I think it's really hard because, like, I mean, we do experience the burnout, and then anything labor intensive or anything like you said you have to concentrate really hard on. It's not a great job for us to have, I think, because it's really exhausting.
You say that, but I actually quite like being a lookout because it gives I'm tasked with the safety, so it's basically a challenge to do my job to the highest standard that I can do it. In other words, make sure no one dies.
Yeah.
But no, I take pride in my job, and I make sure that everyone's everyone gets home safe.
Yeah,
because
and that's
what I take pride in.
Yeah, and that's good. Mine was just like building cars. So
I mean, I was a machine shop apprentice for about 10 months before I got this railway lark. It was before COVID, actually. And 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, sat pressing a button 8 hours a day, pretty much. And I just thought, nah, this isn't for me. I'm level 3 qualified in machining and welding and all that. But no, my home's on the railways. My home is on the railways, grafting. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, now that I'm shifting more to like nursing, it's like the labor intensive thing was good because like I lost a lot of weight, and that's something that I like. I struggle with like body dysmorphia a little bit, so I think a lot of autistic women do. But so, I mean, that was kind of like the benefit of it, but it was just like, I don't know, anything too labor intensive or where I have to concentrate too much is hard. And then the nursing is kind of hard because like the social aspect of it. And I'm so shy. And so like, it's hard for me to like
the thing is,
sometimes. So
every night, every shift that I'm out and, all that, I'm out smashing stone on nights, and I'm enjoying it. But at the same time, it is it is so heavily labor intensive. It absolutely just, I'll get home after a night shift and I'm just like, ugh, I'm done in.
Yeah.
Will and Valerie, I just want to let you know, try to find jobs and, opportunities that, arouse your interest and,
Well, this is the
makes
thing.
you
I've
feel
turned
good.
my hobby into my job.
Hmm.
My hobby is railways, so I've turned it into my job,
Hmm.
which is something I take an immense amount of pride in, especially because I'm now going up the ladder. I'm going from being driving a shovel to now up in the going up in the world.
That's really exciting, dude. Like, you're
Also,
doing
the pay
things
increases, so that's better.
yeah, you're doing things that
It makes it
you
more
happy.
worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is but it's good, like when you find things we like to do. Like well you mentioned like sleeping in the day and because it's light out. Like one thing I would suggest with that would be like if you had like maybe black blinds because it clears out all the light and you just put it on your window and then I went to a family I remember my family maybe it would have been a few years ago now and then you didn't want to see it was annoying because I would see the light out of the window so I put them down and then I sleep like a baby.
I do would actually get the really, really thick, not split curtains or something like that. I would actually cover the sunlight and that. Most of the time, it actually did work, but there was a couple of times when if I was in a really foul mood or something like that, it wouldn't work. I'd be like, oh, I'm just thinking about daylight. But other than that, it is actually a very, very effective way of actually dealing with night shifts and that. When I used to do night work and that. But yeah, I will say I did enjoy some of my night shifts and that when I did it back in the day. But it just wasn't for me in the long run, though, really. But everybody's different. I think that's the beauty about with life altogether, in my view. So yeah,
Yeah. That's it. We're all different. We all like different things. We may like similar things. We found, but we all like to like raise awareness and raise acceptance of autism and being neurodivergent. Like those
But the thing
terms.
is,
Yeah.
I kind of find it a string to my bow because
Hmm.
I'm not out to prove myself or anything.
Yeah.
I know full well I can do it, but it's more a case of I'm out to prove to the world that, yeah, okay, I'm not a math genius, but I can graft. I can graft with the best of them. I'm not the best on the shovel, all told, having said that, but it's not like I'm not good at anything else. I'm actually better with the hammer than I am with a shovel. I'm
Hmm.
smashing clips in. That's me. I'm happy. And the thing is, most of the supervisors, 9 times out of 10, if I'm busy on a renewal site, and then people that know me know I'm good with a hammer, they'll just say, "Do you want to go and crack on behind that clipping machine?" I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll go and clap. I'll just get whatever's missed, and I'll go and crack on. And that actually worked out in my favour because I was I was doing a job up in Morley. Now this is part of the Transpennine route upgrade. So the Transpennine route upgrade, quick bit of background, is the railway that goes through the Pennines, which is the spine of England. So between Lancashire and Yorkshire, from Manchester specifically towards Leeds. We were doing the route via Diggle Junction, so that we were the other side of Huddersfield, sort of Batley, Morley, Cottingley area. And I was working up towards Morley Tunnel. Now, they're moving Morley Station back to slacken the curve off into the tunnel, but that's necessitated renewing the roads there. We call a given pair of rails, so a set of running rails, we call a road. Now, we were on the down and the down and up, so we were on the down road. We'd just stressed it, and it was just being clipped up after being welded. So this clipping machine's gone through and clipped everything up, but it's missed a couple of clips here and there. So I'm going along with a spanner. Sorry, not a spanner, a puller, or what we call an inserter, and a hammer. So anything that's missed, if I can get it with a hammer, I'd slam it in. But I came across a cable that had been torn off by the clipping machine, and rather than rather than just, oh, never mind that. No, I reported it because that means that we can go home, because if not, someone else would have spotted it and we would have been there. So S&T were notified, Signal and Telecoms, and they came and did their thing. Oh, great, my dinner's ready. One moment. Someone else talk.
I actually had a question for Nick. I was wondering how you got into like the political stuff. Like, do you think that ties into the autistic sense of justice?
Yes. It all started when I was in high school. I was my AP American government class. My teacher, well, college professor, my teacher, he wanted us to get involved in the 2016 presidential campaign and the primaries. And for my senior assignment to graduate, I phone banked and campaigned for Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign. And then I enjoyed it so much that I did it again. And then I was a video journalist for my school's news network, my school district's news network. I also did, I recorded for Secretary Clinton's presidential campaign. So I did 2 presidential campaigns during this season. So yeah, and then I volunteered for her campaign after she clinched the nomination. And then I fully got into, politics in 2017, 2018, when I heard that that Congress was planning to gut the ADA's funding. And when I first heard that, I was like, no. I am not going to sit on the sidelines, because I was a psychology major and psychology and I weren't clicking. So I decided to switch my major to political science. And I decided to get into the political arena. I campaigned for my governor, Gavin Newsom's campaign in 2018. I supported now Vice President Harris's presidential campaign. Then I supported Senator Booker's campaign after Vice President Harris dropped out. Then I supported Senator Sanders again. And then I supported President Biden's campaign. I was all over the place in 2020. But the way I got into advocacy, like after, working all these campaigns and, during the pandemic, had this big, cultural awakening after, the events of George Floyd and Matthew Russian's arrest. And, I really got in touch with myself and embraced, more neurodivergent voices and, heard more of that. I finally felt like I was comfortable in being an advocate for people who looked like me, who talked like me, who had the same ideas as me. And that carried over from after getting my AA in 2021, now to university, where I'm almost on the verge of getting my BA. And now I'm getting ready to look at, master degree programs for my master's. I love what I do. I just love being a public advocate. There is sometimes, you'll get heckled, you'll get, harassed, saying, why are you, spreading all this stuff? Like, because recently I had, had messages saying like, you're spreading false information. And one person accused me of spreading, Andrew Tate style theories. I don't do Andrew Tate style conspiracy theories. If I was face to face with Andrew Tate right now, I would literally punch him in the mouth.
Yeah. He's so deplorable.
Yeah. But I don't let nobody deter me for who I am. I just feel confident in my well-being. And, even though there is sometimes, some people think that the stuff we do will make them uncomfortable, but we're just sharing our experience so that you can have a better understanding of what we go through. Yeah. We're not trying to make you uncomfortable. We're just trying to tell you, we may do things a lot different than neurotypical people would do.
We
That
see the
doesn't mean
world.
that,
Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
it doesn't mean that, we don't know anything. I mean, we know right from wrong. We are not trying to bother you. We know what boundaries are. We know what respect is. We just
basically, if to phrase it in the way I'm in the way what I'm getting what you're saying is, we can understand stuff. We know what's what. We know how to do it, and we're trying to share how we see the world, because we may take a neurotypical person and a neurodivergent person, give them the same problem, and you will get two different solutions. I tell you now, because I've done that myself. Someone's given me a problem, and someone else the same problem, and I've come at it from a completely different direction, and even then somehow got it done faster than the person who went about it the conventional way.
yeah.
On the face of that as well, just let us be us. Don't be trying to silence us, for heaven's sakes. I mean, obviously there's a fair amount of give and take there, but you can read into whatever you want, but just let us do us. For heaven's sakes.
And it's, I mean, it's really important too, because I mean, like, the experts believe that Albert Einstein was, autistic. And so it's like, we have really great contributions to make. And it's so sad that so many of us are just overlooked.
Yeah, I mean, and people think that, we are basically going to resort to nothing, which is certainly not the case. We got a lot of things we want to contribute to the world.
Yeah.
And so that's why I want to be like a public advocate, fight for people with, disabilities that have been, left out and, been often ignored. And that's why I worked on, I'm the vice president of my poli-sci club. I organized that, this neurodiversity in politics event. And that's why I worked with disability justice to get this neurodivergent and disability. And now our state wants, to support it and want to make it a state law.
So you're here in California, because you mentioned Governor Newsom. So that's cool. Yeah, I'm from here too. And
yes.
Yeah, and I'm also a big Bernie fan. I love Bernie Sanders. So thank you for working.
Yeah, I had a Bernie Sanders T-shirt that's somewhere, and I had 2 Bernie buttons that's in my drawer. I have like a politics, treasure trove. I have a Bernie Sanders T-shirt. I have a Hillary Clinton T-shirt. I have a Vice President Kamala Harris T-shirt when she ran a presidential campaign, when she became vice president. I have oh my goodness, yeah. I just have like this Democratic president treasure trove of clothes.
I'm starting to make my own collection too. I want to get some more stuff.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah.
I want to get more into politics and everything. I want to take some more political science courses and start getting into the activism, because like, I mean, there's a lot to be done, and especially since I have kids, I'm really invested in making sure that like our community has more rights and more understanding. So
yeah,
really
we just want to, make things, a world equal for everybody, for you, for me. I just hope one day more neurotypical people can see that neurodivergent people do belong here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they do, and like it's really funny when we talk about politics, because loads of people have all it gets really heated. I've had conversations with my friends. I say an opinion, they say an opinion, and they say what, and then it just gets already heated. So it's it's really good that you do like to do that, Nick, because it's not an easy path to take, going down the politics route, because everyone has lots of views and lots of opinions, and if you say one opinion, you're under attack.
This is why I couldn't be a politician. And there's a joke. This is a sort of a British humour thing. So this is where I could upset someone, so I'm going to try and not to do that. But 9 times out of 10, politicians promise you the world and give you nothing. You know, promise you the world and give you peanuts.
Always about.
Yeah, this is the thing in the UK.
Yeah.
Not to try and incite anything, but the government are kind of a laughing stock.
Yeah, you have a parliamentary government, dude.
Yeah, they're about
and
as much
also in
use as a wet
Canada.
paper towel.
Yeah,
They are really about as
usually-
much use as a wet paper towel. And it is laughable to watch them go about doing their thing because shout at each other, order, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, just politicians not to be trusted around here. Nah.
Yeah.
We feel the same way over here, especially with.
Well,
I mean, I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this, I'm sure, but the Republican Party over here has turned into just, I don't even know. I mean, they used to at least be a little bit respectable before Bush, but then I think Bush.
To me, all politicians are as bad as each other. They're not to be trusted, and anyone who says they want to be a politician, ignore them. Don't trust them. Because I wouldn't trust any of the politicians we have in this country as far as I could throw them, which isn't very far. So no.
See, over here, because we've got people like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and I mean, people like in the progressive movement, they're not taking like corporate PAC money, which is, I think, a lot of the reason why we can't trust politicians these days is because they're getting paid. You know,
yeah, there's too many backhanders. Far too many backhanders. You saw it all through COVID here. There were that many backhanders. We just thought, nah, this ain't gonna fly.
I want to repeat everything Valerie says. You know, back like almost a decade ago, everybody was taking corporate money, but right now, I'm not gonna say everybody, but a good majority of, you know, politicians are not taking corporate money because they know how damaging that is, and that caused a big rift between the constituents and their policies. So
I tend to avoid politics most of the time because it's a massive can of worms that I don't like opening. I mean, I will discuss it if it's the topic of conversation, but most of the time I try to keep out of it because knowing me, I can get pretty heated about it, and it tends to wind me up. So the less said, the better for me. If the politics is involved, if I'm quiet, that's good.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think for me as well, when it comes to politics, I try and stay away from it. It's like jumping into like a really, really hot water, and once you step into it, you can ignite a massive flame that could actually boil this massive debate. I'm like, what's going on?
I used to feel that way. I used to feel that way. Like I especially with me, because like I'm so sensitive to people. So like when I'm arguing with people and then they like say something mean, I'm like, I want to cry. But I think it's actually really important that we get into politics as autistic people, because there's a lot of people who want to take, I mean, everyone's rights away, but especially people who are just like different, you know, that like understand what they don't know. So I think it's really important for us to be politically active, because I mean, if we don't, you know, that like there's a lot of like really terrible things that could happen.
I mean, I can understand that, but there are some times where there's some opinions where you could actually kind of like, I think we should still be involved with politics in general. Just got to be a bit careful with it, you know. Like I've noticed that, but I think if we can do it the right way, then we've got to. I totally agree with that. Well, just be a little bit careful, but that's just me speaking.
Yeah. Speaking of government and politics, I actually got invited around the UK Parliament. It might have been, I think, early last year. It was. I declined. I didn't want to go have a tour around the Parliament, but it was quite funny because the annoying thing for me with politics is like most of us here say, it's very hard to trust, and especially what has happened over the last few years within the UK government. Like lots of things have come out and leaks about lies and like people keeping secrets, and and then they end up losing their job. Like
Oh, Bozo the Clown.
yeah, and it's annoying and it's very confusing as well. It's very confusing to keep up what is going on, really. Like with the lockdowns, maybe when you're getting told to go in and out like a yo-yo. So very confusing, especially for autistic people, neurodivergent people.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That was 2020 was a year. Well, to be fair, between 2020 and now has been one giant blur for me. I only started work in 21, but even then that took a bit of doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will admit, when I was working throughout COVID, I found a bit of heaven as well because it was sort of stuff I still had to work during the whole lockdown. I worked in retail and I had to make my day. But also at the same time, we didn't have any people because didn't want to go out or anything like that. But for me, it was actually like heaven where I didn't have to do all the really hard sort of things. I was able to cover a lot of overtime. So it does have its twists and turns on COVID, in my view, during that period. It was the same time I had before COVID and after COVID. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to hear, but I think I heard you saying how the pandemic was a little bit like more fine for you than it was for other people. Is that kind of what you were saying? Because yeah, I feel the same way. Like I mean, I was pregnant during when the pandemic started, and so like they let all the older people at my work stay at home because it was like targeting older people. And then I said, hey, I'm pregnant and I'm scared, can I stay home too? And so they let me stay home, so I was kind of just like staying at home, still getting paid, so that kind of worked out well for me. And as an autistic person, not having to be around other people, like because being at work was draining my social battery, especially like being so tired from being like pregnant and stuff. And so it actually worked out okay for me.
The social battery theory to me makes a hell of a lot of sense, because at the same time when you sleep, you recharge that battery, and then it wears down over the day and various bits and bats and this, that, and t'other. But for me, I've always been a case of I can make my social battery last, but it depends on who I'm around. If I'm around people that I know and I like and I really enjoy being around, it'll last forever. I can talk and chat and do whatever for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end. But if I'm around someone who gets on my wick, annoys me, talks to me like I'm something they're trodden in, yes, I have to work with someone like that, I get tired of that really quickly. And there's only so much you can take before you have to say, hang on a minute, don't talk to me like that. Because again, it's something I don't want to get into, because I know I can get pretty, I can get not nasty, but I can get pretty, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can totally understand that. Yeah, like, I mean, I feel like most comfortable when I'm around other neurodivergent people. So like my best friend has ADHD, and so
I get that too.
Yeah. So like being around her is definitely like less draining than it is being around. I mean, it's like even being around somebody that I like love and like I'm just like we like get on like so well. It's like I still need my space sometimes every once in a while, but it's definitely like easier to be around people that like are neurodivergent, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that definitely as well.
Definitely. Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because neurodivergent people, I've noticed, are more accepting than neurotypical people. And I think it's because we share the same struggles. We share the same overloads, same this, same that, same the other. Whereas a neurotypical person would go, what?
Yeah, they just don't get it.
They look at you as if you've got 3 heads, 2 arms, and 3 heads, 3 arms, and about 5 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard because like I mean our brains are wired differently. That's like
it's like NT people are on Mac OS and we're on Windows.
I think
in some weird kind of alternate universe.
Kind of
You
like,
look at you and go,
the other way
what?
around.
Yeah.
I said that we're the Macs and
Yeah.
Windows. That's what.
Yeah, we're the
because
Macs. I think
yeah,
it's
are
a
a
little
bit more
bit faster.
creative.
Yeah, but at the
like,
same time, I have this
and-
pathological, ideological hatred of Apple because of their
Oh,
marketing.
yeah.
I don't really
X, Y,
like
and
Windows.
Z. I'd father
fine.
rather
I got
have
an iPhone,
Android.
bruh. I got
Yeah.
an iPhone,
And they never
bruh.
shows their Apple device.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just because last time I had a Windows, it ran so slow. I was like, what is this?
Even though my laptop is Dell, it's it's Windows. My iPhone, I got an iPhone.
Yeah.
My mom got an Android.
No,
I got
what-
Yeah.
The thing that bugs me about iPhones, and this is a personal pet peeve, so this is just me, but Apple have this thing where they've somehow buried in it some software where if you want a third-party charging lead, won't charge as fast, won't transfer data as quickly, and 9 times out of 10 it'll say it's charged up, and then as soon as you take it off charge, it's back down to 2%.
Yeah.
And the only way you can fix that is by getting an Apple OEM lead, and they're charging more for that than they are the third-party one. So, yeah, that doesn't fly in my book.
No, I agree with you. I think Apple's like pretty like
Predatory, I'd say.
predatory, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
At the same time, I have in the back of my head gone, I might get a second-hand iPhone 8 just to experiment and lark about with. But in the end of it, I just go, well, it's an extra charging lead because Apple have this proprietary weird connector.
Right.
I'm sorry, but USB-C is the way to go.
Yeah.
Or I just go, well, for the same spec as an Android phone, I can be paying a lot less.
Fair enough.
Not
Yeah.
gonna
Yes.
£1,200,
I will
£1,300
say-
for a phone.
Yeah.
I will say though, really, I think I used to love Apple with real passion before Steve Jobs died, but then when Steve Jobs dies, I think they turned into more of a mainstream sort of business. So I can understand why some people may not like Apple for that particular front. But however, though, for me, it still keeps me going a bit. Even if it does pay out a bit more, I find them still pretty good on their user interface design. But that's just me.
But the thing is,
I agree with you about the Steve Jobs thing because he pretty much just came in and like kind of took Wozniak's idea and made it like super profitable, but
and then they've just seen the dollar signs in their eyes and just carried on ramping up prices. Where Samsung, you'll get an equivalent phone for you still pay. I'm paying over 36 months. I'm paying about £1,000 for the S22, but at the same time, you'll get more storage. You'll get probably better longevity. And when all's said and done, if you break this thing, parts are readily available and you can do the repair yourself effectively or can take it somewhere where they'll do it. Whereas with Apple, you've got to book it in an Apple store and you won't get it back for the next 3 weeks. And it seems like a whole load of messing about. I nearly said something else there, which I'm glad I stopped myself. It just seems like a whole lot of messing about for nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Never actually had any problems with any of my Apple devices ever. All they've done here is just like it's been out of date and that. So I've never actually had any issues with that. So
I think it's also because I'm seeing it from the point of view that everyone I know that I've seen has a cracked screen on their iPhone. So all I'm seeing is they're overhyped, over fragile pieces of rubbish. Now I'm not going to say that they are, but that's the impression I keep getting. Yeah. And I think that's something to link it back to the neurodivergence thing. I think that's what people are seeing with us. Anytime they see people like us, or anytime they see news coverage, they're seeing someone who's tired, just had a meltdown, completely over, and they just think we're all ticking time bombs, which is completely not the case. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. And I'm going to say an Apple iPhone is probably just as good as your top of the line Samsung Notes or the S22 Plus or whichever. Or a Mac is as good as any of your gaming computers or whichever's, because that's what people use. Yeah. Anyone in art will use a Mac because you get better programs. Whereas for Windows, Windows is better for gaming. Each system has its own distinct advantages.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what we've got to see in other people. folks with ASD or neurodivergent, whoever, have their own advantages over NT folk. And people need to see past the label and actually think, hang on a minute, let's use that because they have more sorts of advantages over this for doing this, whereas NT folk can do this really well.
Yeah.
And somehow make it work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I got into iPhones really was I was part of YouTube between like 2007 to 2014. It was like really underground at that time, and then the YouTubers really loved all the Apple devices and all the Apple stores and that. It was like brand new for everything. Steve Jobs was still about, and that he was getting rich and successful thanks to helping out Pixar again and that. And well, and then when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then it spread it on to my entire family, and we stuck with Apple ever since. So I was part of that when they were underground and that before they started to think about what you said is about money and that altogether.
Well, the thing is as well, the Apple, the latest Android 13, I think it is, and the latest Apple iOS, they're near enough the same in their UI and functionality. It's only the back end that's different. What you see on the screen is perfectly reasonable and it works perfectly. So it's more a case of, and I've heard that Apple aren't happy about having to go over to USB-C, but in honesty, it'll do them better in the long run. It's only because they can't sell you their own proprietary leads that they're getting uppity about it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they can't sell them because the new generation aren't going to have any. They've still got to support the older iPhones that have got the Lightning connectors. So
yeah, where you coming from with that?
it makes complete sense.
Yeah. Shall we move on? Because I think
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. Everyone, about phones and it's funny how we got into this discussion about phones, in the first
Yeah, but it's a
place.
good analogy.
Yeah, it is completely right because like that's how we are treated, like a broken phone, a smashed phone, and people would want like you say, you see a lot of people they don't take care of your phones, but like a person is more important than a phone, which
Oh
is
God, yeah.
of course.
That goes without saying.
Yes, yes. But actually, when talking about burnout, actually, you could actually relate to that in a way with your phone with the battery percentage, on it. Like how much maybe you use your phone, it goes down, and your phone is burning out, and that can make like us during a day doing lots in a day burns your battery percentage down and down and down until you're on red, where you're really burn out to that point.
As ever, the man's right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But but there is a thing on the phone where you can go on low power mode. I don't think we can do that.
No, we can't do that.
We can't do that, unfortunately.
I wish we could though.
Yeah.
It would help me out tremendously, especially in build-up to night shifts.
It would be very helpful, wouldn't it? Yeah. Sometimes it's quite funny because once there was a scenario where a family member did not know what low power mode meant, so I had to explain what it meant. And this particular person said, "I don't want to go on low power mode. I don't know what it's going to do." And I say, "Don't worry, it's fine. It help you go on your phone for a bit more. That's the whole point of low power mode. So your battery don't go dead, and it actually looks better. I think low power mode. You rather have a yellow on your screen or orange than red. That's just dead. but yeah, but that is the thing now. Like we're getting more of these tech and like with talking about our stories online now, which long time ago, maybe in the old days, we wouldn't have been doing this. We wouldn't have a phone. We wouldn't probably have a PC or computer or
Yeah,
however
we'd
we're
probably be
talking
sat
today.
in a room filming this.
Yeah, we've probably been studio. It'd be very hard with the likes of maybe Valerie, Nick, and Evangelyn, because of course you guys are overseas, and I imagine me, Barry, and Will were in different locations in the UK, so it would be very hard. Which is why we have this. It's good we have this software, because if we didn't, life would be boring. We'd be staring at a wall all day, which isn't fun. Yeah, we would have to socialise in person, which I think, especially over the lockdowns and those last few years that have been passed, we've managed. Like for me, I think it's been beneficial. Like speaking to people over here online, like the amount of people that you do meet, like we said at the start of the episode, that there's so many people out there who are neurodivergent. But the annoying, unfortunately, around this time of year, because when it's acceptance awareness month, I came across it last year. I've come across something again this year, where autism is undermined by certain people. Last year was I saw something that an organisation said about autism as a disease, but this year saying how labels. So say like in school, a lot of maybe autistic people get labelled as naughty, don't they? And on this particular thing, I saw that this person said that people don't like being labelled naughty, but they're okay to be labelled like ADD, ADHD. And I thought that was awful. That was awful to say stuff like that. Considering this individual said that they work with neurodivergent people, but not people who are autistic or who have ADHD. And it was awful. Like I read all the comments, and everyone was telling them to take the post down and think about what you're doing. Because I always say, I always share information that that you know is right to share. Like you don't share things that you're. So I'm not going to share something around something that I don't know. Like you have to, like it has to be really protective.
You have the right to. It's almost a case of you have a right to speak, but at the same time you have a responsibility to check your facts.
Yeah.
You know, as my dad would say, engage your brain before you open your gob.
That's right. Yeah. It is always put. And the annoying thing is this certain person didn't would reply to comments and not engage in the right manner. So that the way they would respond is like they are not wrong. They actually think they're right. And a neurotypical mindset, really, it came across as and
Lovely.
and it's crazy, like that. There are people out there. We don't maybe see them as much, maybe now than maybe a few years ago. But it's one of those things. It's why we do what we're doing now. Is why we hop on podcasts to. It's why we do certain maybe posts on social media. It's why we do a speech. It's why we do this stuff. And it is good to do this stuff, but like we say, it burns us out, like repeating ourselves maybe in half a dozen times, and it does get tiring. But at the same time, if I always say, if someone doesn't understand, say it a load of times so they get annoyed with you. And if they get annoyed with you, you're doing the right thing, because it's sticking in their head, and they're probably going to go home and or go on the internet and research it, what it is. But the annoying thing about the internet, it can have the right thing and the wrong thing about a certain thing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So guys, last few things before we finish, because we've spoken about a lot today, and we're speaking about the dark. It's starting to get dark over here in the UK.
It's still light out here.
Yeah.
In the US.
I imagine it is. I imagine it is.
Yeah, during this recording, I had to actually have to turn on my light. Just found out. So, when I first came in, the light.
Yeah, I saw Barry. Like because I see actually like through your windows, it was very light when we started, and then as time has gone on, it's got dark.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let everyone have a chance. I'm gonna say your names, and then as like we're on a game show, I'll say your names, and you can speak. But I'm gonna say your names in no particular order. I like when I say that in no particular order. It's like we're on a game show. But we're not on a game show. But yeah, I'm gonna say your names. Say any advice or last words that you want to say. And then I'll do a roundup after you've all said it. So I've forgotten who I said first last time, but I'm gonna go my left to right. I'll start with you, Valerie. If you have any advice, maybe last words, you can say it.
Yeah, I'd like to say, since we were talking about it a lot, I think, as autistic people, I think it's important for us to share our voice, and share like what we have to say. A lot of people have tried to erase our voice, Autism Speaks. So I think it's just really important that we share our experiences and our values and everything. So
Definitely. We always hear about Autism Speaks every year, don't we? Especially around this time, because Autism Speaks is they're not very good, are they? The way they do things, and but it's good we highlight them. But I said this we came across this conversation yesterday when I did the reunion episode for yesterday, and what I said is because we talk about every year how bad Autism Speaks is, and they do everything wrong and bad, but they still do the same thing. Like I bet you now every year you're seeing your Autism Speaks page a starter pack or something to get rid of to cure autism and stuff. You'll see it every year, and it's not changed like every single year. And I think it's crazy the amount of us say we're against it, and it's very rare you have people are with it. I've seen a couple of people that are with it, and like it's the same with the puzzle piece and the infinity symbol, which because it's all depend how you're educated, how you're brought up. I think that's where it comes to. Like if you're educated around like certain terms, how they identify. So I think now a lot of things has changed. Like maybe with the term Asperger's, a lot of people don't use that anymore. We just use autistic. So a lot of things change, and which is why we have so much education around it all. But thanks Valerie for saying about that, because we didn't speak about that today. Will, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, don't listen to Autism Speaks. That's one thing, but the other is just do what you're gonna do. Just if you think it's right, just do it. But for heaven's sake, question anything you're told. Find the facts, and whatever you do, make sure you don't say the wrong thing, kind of thing. Always research what your material is that you're going to talk about before you go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, I completely agree, and yeah, it's about anything, anything you put online, always think about it before you put it online. But I think at the same time, whatever you put online, not everyone's gonna like it. You
just got to accept the fact that you're gonna upset someone at some point. I think what I'm trying to say in simple terms is engage your brain before you open your gob.
Yeah, like what I always do if I put something on that maybe a trigger to people, I put at the top of the description
trigger warning kind of thing.
Yeah, and I did that a few months ago, and I got a message back from someone saying can you not post that, Mason? I don't like it, and I said you didn't have to see what
Why
I put
are you
on.
reading the post?
Yeah. But the thing is, they said this certain person was autistic, so I sympathised with them, and I said, yeah, and then I said, if you've read it, and they said, I didn't read it, I just looked at the pictures. I was like, there you go, next time, yeah.
Read the manual kind of thing.
that's it. That's it. And but yeah, thanks, Will. It's been great having you on again. As always. Barry, do you have any advice or any last words you want to say?
Yeah, just I would say just be yourself, just be out there, be creative in what you can do and can't do. Always accept help if you need help. You can understand where the help comes from. And yeah, like Will said, yeah, just be a bit mindful, research the stuff, use your brain instead of before you actually speak, and that, get help with right, go to the right people who may understand and that. And yeah, that's all I can say though, really. And also, yeah, I'm another one that does like autism speaks and all these autistic people that think, that as in a dog food terminology, autistic people need to be exterminated. That's the impression I get from them at the end of the day, even if they have mindset. But yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Barry. Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. Because yeah, stay away from Autism Speaks. Definitely, and yeah, very good. Nick, go to you.
Yeah, I just want to echo everything that Will and Barry and Valerie all said. Autism Speaks sucks. That's a good thing I, don't wear their shirts anymore. I know on my last episode I said, never give up on your dreams. But I want to say for this episode, give neurodivergent people a chance. Let us show you we belong and that we have a lot to contribute to society.
Yeah.
And we do. And we really do.
We do. We do, and yeah, like we're doing that now. So aren't we? So yeah, I completely agree, Nick. It's great to have you on again.
Thanks,
yeah.
Mason.
Thanks, Nick. And Evangelyn, do you want to add on anything?
Just remember that like you matter to this world, and you don't know what's coming, so even if things are really hard, you just have to keep having hope.
Yeah, I think hope is a good word, because yeah, it's always good to have hope on different things around maybe autism, and maybe like doing your dreams, like Nick said there. But yeah, I completely agree with what everyone is saying. And it's great to have you all back for the reunion of Autistic Assemble. And yeah, to anyone listening and watching today, we hope you've enjoyed it as much as us. We could be on here as much longer. With so much to talk about. I always say you could have a a lesson around this. And like there's so many different things. But this is the last. This will be it for Autistic Assemble for this year. But there's always going to be autism episodes now and there on the podcast all the time, and there's different series coming all the time as well. But I hope to bring Autistic Assemble back next year. Maybe I'll call it Autistic Assemble 2. That maybe become a bit of lame, but like it's an improvement on last year. For those who tuned into last year's, or some people who were involved in last year's, I just called it the autism series. I didn't pick a name, but this time I did, and we had a logo and everything for it. So it's great, and it's great to have everyone here today. Valerie, Will, Barry, Nick, and Evangelyn. I'm glad you've all come today. From different time zones as well, which is really cool. That we can all hop on a call and just speak about autism, really. So yeah, I'm gonna finish it there. But to everyone listening and watching, and everyone here, I'm glad we've all done this and enjoyed it for the last episode, the finale. But yeah, I hope you all have a nice weekend. Rest of your weekend. When this airs, it will be Monday. So from the past, have a good weekend. But from the future, have a good rest of the week.
Thank you.